So today's session will be mostly the last session. So I'm going to cover the Tableau best practices and some of the interview questions. So let's discuss on the Tableau best practices and how to design the dashboards for the real world. So while designing the dashboard, so we have to know the purpose and who are our audience. So as we discussed in the earlier sessions, so we have to know our audience for whom we are preparing. So in the previous session, I have explained on how to take the data. So let's compare with the normal data like India data that we have. So if you want to showcase India data, so if you want to showcase it to the level of Prime Minister, so he should be taking care of all the states and the union territories under him. So we should be preparing something related to India and all. So let me just connect to some sample data. So if I'm preparing at the level of central, so in central level, we will have central home minister. I'm just giving a classic example so that you will understand uh, in the level of when you go to organization. So in organization, so also you will have similar type of structure they will maintain. So in organizations, we might have CEOs, COOs, vice presidents like this. So when you're preparing dashboard at that level, so you should be preparing at an overall level. So let me just prepare for this. So I have the data for India. So I have gathered some of the data. So this is the data that is being prepared by me. So this has the information of the state names and whether it is a union territory or whether it is a state. So I have given one flag for that and vehicle code in that particular state and which zone it belongs to. So we can gather that particular information. So let's see. So how many states are there? So you can directly double click on this. So Tableau will automatically generate a map for that. Why? Because it is a uh, geolocation basically. So it is just showing that particular location and you can use this. And what is the population in those locations? So just type in population. So by so by seeing this, we can understand. So in Uttar Pradesh, it has the highest population. In the Ladakh and all, so it has very less population. So by seeing the intensity of the color, so we can understand this. So when I'm preparing the dashboards for higher level management, so I should be preparing at this level. So he should be, or the prime minister or the central level ministers, so they will look at the data at an overall level so that they will understand in which place the population is more and all, in which place the GDP is more and all. So all this information, they can get it. So I'll prepare one more sheet which shows the GDP. Yeah, this is the one which has the GDP rate. Okay, so this is for the overall. And when I drag state, so I can see this is the GDP rate from all the states in 2011. So I can have all the details like 2012. So this is from the 2012 and all. So I can create a line chart to understand this thing. So let me just create. So basically this gives the information of the states. So if I double click on this, I should be able to see the map chart. So I can see, so even if the population is more here, but when you go to this particular sheet, so this is about GDP, but GDP is more in a different state. So I can compare these two worksheets and I can say, even if the population is more, the GDP is more at Maharashtra. And yeah, so this is what we can compare. So we can prepare at an overall level. And in organization, we will have separate hierarchy. So let's say higher level management is like CEO, COO, and vice presidents and all. So when you are preparing for these audience, you will prepare at an overall level. And when you are preparing at employee level or business analyst, or site level managers, so then you will go into deeper. So when I say deeper, so only, let's say Delhi. I want to specifically focus on Delhi. So I want to know how Delhi is performing. So what is the population? What is the population of Delhi? And what is the GDP across all the years? So this is for all the years. So I will just focus on this. So as a Delhi site manager, I should be able to, or as a Delhi chief minister wants to know how Delhi is performing. What is the population of Delhi and how is the GDP from 2011 to 2017? So it got increased. It got increased drastically from 780,000 to 1,384,000. So we can do all the kind of similar functions that we have implemented in the previous sessions, like window functions and the table calculations and all, so that we can compare with the previous years, how the values are getting changed and all. So all these operations can be implemented. So we have to know our audience. Based on that, we should be able to prepare the dashboards. So that is what is know your purpose and know your audience, and leverage the most viewed spot. So this also we have discussed earlier. So not only in Tableau, so in any reporting tool, left top position is the most viewed spot. So if you prepare any dashboard, so try to keep very important chart to your leftmost top. So this is the most viewed spot. So even if you prepare any presentation in PPT, or even if you prepare in Power BI or any tool that you use for reporting, so human beings will start looking at the most viewed spot. So this is psychologically they have known fact that, so every person will view at the left top position. So try to keep very important chart over there. So let's say if you are preparing anything, something related to Superstore or anything. So let me just connect to Superstore. So I'll just create some charts and I'll create for subcategory. So there are some shortcuts as well. So this is hierarchy. So I'll just tell you about the shortcuts. So you don't even have to drag these items into the field. So you just need to select, let's say, if I want to create a pie chart, so I'll select segment, I'll control select segment, and I'll control select sales. Okay, so based on these two selections, what are the charts that I can implement? So those will be highlighted over here and show me. So if I just click on this, so first thing what you have to do is in data pane, you have to select, control select the segment and the sales. And based on those fields that you have selected, the charts will be enabled in the show me. So you just have to click on this pie chart. So it will directly accommodate all the fields that you have selected. It will make use of those fields and it will create a chart accordingly. So you don't even have to drop at all. So these are the some of the tips. So they have implemented in the coming future. So in 2023 and all, they have implemented it. So this is about pie chart. And I will show you one more shortcut. So let's say if I select sales and if I select, let me select some other column, category, control select this. Okay, once you select this, right click on this, then you go to create. So here there is an option called create LOD calculation. So it will automatically write the LOD calculation for you. So fixed category sum of sales. It is basically fixing the sum of sales based on the category. So you don't even have to write manually. So these are the some of the options which they have implemented in 2023 version. So you can use this calculation. Yeah, so this is for the sales category. So even if you take subcategory, it will still show for the category values only. So you can see 839,000, wherever it is 837, 839,000, it belongs to one particular category. So let me just put category also so that we will understand. So category, this is the total of all the category value, I mean subcategory values. So this is basically the sum of this 754,748. So this we have discussed in LOD calculation, why this is showing the total. So as we have fixed at category level, so it is doing sum at the category level and it is fixing there. Even if you add 100 columns into here, it will still show the furniture value only. It will not segregate based on the dimensions that you have added. So these are the some of the tips. So this is called as cross tab or tabular chart, cross tab. And I'll create one map chart. So I'll just take location. Let's use country region. Or let me take from the India data. So I'll take state. So I want to color union territory separately. So I can use this. Yeah, these are the union territories you can see, which are in different color. So Delhi also union territory. So it is a small part over here. So if you want to segregate like that, you can do that. And we also have segregation of region wise. Yeah, zone. So zone, if I put it in here, zone, if I put it in the color, so I should be able to see central regions, I mean central states, eastern states, northeastern states, northern states. So all the segregation I can see, southern states, western states. So this is based on the data that I have created. So you can implement these type of worksheets when you have. So I will share this data with you all. So try to implement this and try to publish in the Tableau public. So if you have the data where you can see the segregation of central, eastern, northern. So by just one click, you can see what are the states which are related to central, what are the states which are related to northeastern. So all this we can visualize. So this is about India. So now so most viewed spot, we have to leverage that spot. So I'll keep India over here. So I want to focus more on India. So I'll just keep it here. And I'll keep rest of the worksheets next to this. So like this we can implement, and let's remove this hide titles. And put one dashboard title for this. Just putting some random name, say okay. So this way we can implement, and if you want to put some borders and all, so design is depending upon you. So you can design however you want to. So as we discussed about the formatting, so we can use all the formatting options, the borders, lines, shading. So you can use all the options. And so try to, so whenever you use some background colors, right, you have to use light color backgrounds. So otherwise the focus mostly will go on the background. So instead of the charts, the focus mostly will go on your background color. So try to maintain the light colors in your background. Fit width. Yep. So this way we can present it. And design for the real world. So we can prepare for the mobile phones as well. So we can design for mobile phones, and depending on the, let's say if your users are using iPods, so you can design it for the any particular device that you want to. So you can select the device here. You can design it for that, and you can select what device it is. Yeah, you can select here what device needs to be selected, whether you want to show it in phone type or tablet, desktop. So you can select that. If you are if you are prefer to show it in phone, then you can select it. Here you can also select the model of the phone. So these are the models which are currently available. So iPhone, so there are four models which are available, and Samsung also it is available. So if your users are using mostly iPhone, then you can directly prepare for their mobile so that it will look good. Even if you open our Tableau public links, so it is opening like this. So it is automatically adjusting. So we have created it based on the automatic mode. So in automatic mode, so it will adjust to your screen automatically. So if you are opening it in mobile, then it will come vertically. If you are opening it in desktop, it will look like a screen, rectangular screen. So depend. So it's better to keep automatic. So it will adjust to your screen automatically. Otherwise, you can keep, or you can select. If you know that people will always use mobile to see the dashboards and all, so you can prefer to use. You can select and you can create for the phone itself. And you know that some of the users are using mobile and some of the users are using uh, screens, then you can use automatic mode, so that will automatically adjust to their screen mode. It is actually not coming clearly, so let me just change it to 100%. So if I have this screen model, so if I change this, and now if I keep it in presentation mode, so you can see it clearly. Yeah, now let me keep this in presentation mode. So like this, you can see in the entire screen. So this is automatically adjusted to my screen size. Okay, so I'll tell you some of the important features that we can use or to improve the performance of the dashboard. So I have shared one image in the group. So those are the most of the points which we'll look to improve the performance of the dashboard. The first thing is, let's say if I am making any particular worksheet. So let's say if I'm taking only few columns from this. So in the entire dashboard, if I'm making use of only, let's say certain 10 columns, but it has some 20 columns in the data. Yeah, if I'm not using it, so it's better I hide those columns. So there is an option called hide all unused fields. So once you prepared everything, when you know that the dashboard preparation is completed, then you can hide all unused fields and that will improve the performance. Why? Because so whenever it retrieves the data, it will retrieve only the columns that are being used, only relevant columns that are being used. So based on that only, we will be able to improve the performance. And there are some other features. So let's just show. Yeah. So we have to use an extract to make workbooks run faster. So there is one more option. So you can see this cylindrical symbol. So if you have one cylinder, that meaning it is a live connection, and when you have dual cylinder, it is a extract connection. So you have to extract the data and you have to start using the so so as we discussed about extract and live connection, the live connection is slower compared to extract connection. Until unless there is some use for to keep the dashboard in live connection. So we should not keep it in live connection. Otherwise, it will cause the performance issues. So it is better to keep in extract connection. So when you know that data is crossing millions, so when you know that the data is crossing millions, then you have to start using extract connection itself. Otherwise, it will take time. So when I say it will take time, so let's say even if you want to see some data, let's say if I use this particular filter and say, okay, show filter. So let's say if I select some particular states like this. Okay, so within seconds, I can see these are appearing. So if I select Assam, I can see Assam is appearing. If I select somewhere in Gujarat, so I can see Gujarat is appearing in seconds. But what is the performance issue is, so if you select something, it will take few seconds or few minutes. Sometimes if you have millions of records, sometimes it takes more than few seconds. So the basic agenda is it should not take more than 5 seconds. It should not take more than 5 seconds. So this particular data that I have connected to, so this has very less amount of data. It has only 36 rows. So that is why it is very, very faster. But when you connect to real-time data, when you connect to millions of records, this will get impacted. So let's say when you select some data, it will have to check million records and it has to filter those records and it has to show the data. So that is why it will take time. So you have to maintain in such a way that it has to be within 5 seconds. People, I mean, people at higher management, they will not wait for 5 seconds even. So even if you publish some dashboards, within 5 seconds, they wanted to see the data. So you have to make sure that is performing well. So try to keep it. Hello, am I audible? Okay. Some network issue got disconnected. Okay, let me just. Okay, so I was telling about this extract connection. So dashboards should not take more than 5 seconds. So if I click on something, if I click on any filter of, or if I do any operation, so if I want to open dashboard one, so it should not take time to show the data. So I can see the data for population. I can see the data by GDP. So it is just showing it. So if I just click on this, it is just showing me the data. But in real time, what happens is when you connect to millions of records, it will not be as, uh, oh, sorry. Okay, is it visible now? Okay, so when we just click on any particular dashboard, so it should not take more than 5 seconds. So for that, we have to maintain this performance things. So we have to use extract and reduce the scope of data to increase the volume of data. So whatever data that we are showing, so we have to restrict only to that level and hide all unused fields and reduce the number of marks to avoid information overload. So let's say I'll tell you about marks. So marks is basically the data points. So let's say these are my data points. So here I have taken one dimension and you can see at the bottom left corner, you can see 36 marks. So basically there are 36 data points. So with union territories, we have 36 states and union territories. So that is what it is showing. And when you try to include, let's say, if you go to sample superstore, when you take category, category has only 3 marks, meaning it is 3 values in the category. So unnecessarily don't use any marks. So let's say if I put something, let's say city in detail. So it is showing you for city. So it is the marks you can see it became 1396. So which is irrelevant here. So these type of things should not be included. So city should be removed from here. And here we are focusing on more on category. So try to reduce this marks. So these marks will get increased when you are using dimensions in the worksheet. So try to reduce these marks. So that will improve the performance. And there are some functions. So instead of those functions, if you use these functions, it will improve the performance. So try to use integers or booleans in calculations as they are much faster than strings. Okay, so when you are using calculations, so try to use boolean functions. So I'll just show you. If sum of sales is greater than 20,000, then true, else false. Say okay. So this is a Boolean function. So true or false. So when you say something is true and false, so that is called as a Boolean function. So now let me show you sales subcategory. And now let's use that Boolean function. Double click on this. Just drag and drop it here. So you can see true and false, these things. If it is above 20,000, it is true, and if it is below 20,000, it is false. Okay, so this is Boolean function. So as we discussed, Boolean function is faster, and same calculation we can write without Boolean function also. So if you use strings, say you can say yes, you can say no. So now this became a string. Say okay. So this will also give you same output, but instead of Boolean function, now you are using a string function. So which will slow the dashboard. So you have to know these things, which function will make you make the dashboard faster and which function will make the dashboard slower. So we have to try to use integers or booleans in calculation instead of strings. And we have discussed about hide or unused fields and context filters. So the advantage of context filter is, so it will create a auxiliary table. So let's say if you are filtering, so let's say you have some 1 million records. Out of those 1 million records, let's say you are taking out only 10,000 records. So those 10,000 records will make a table. So whatever filters that you apply on top of that context filter, so it will not go check in the 1 million records. It will go check in the 10,000 records which you have already filtered. So you're not retrieving the data from 1 million records. So that way it will improve the performance. And reduce filter usage and use some alternative way to achieve the same result. So if you are using a lot of filters in the filter shelf, so it will reduce the performance. So try to reduce the filters and try to achieve the same result. Use indexing in tables and use the same fields for filtering. So whatever fields that you are using in the worksheet, so try to use same fields in the filter shelf as well. And remove unnecessary calculations and worksheets. So meanwhile, while I am developing this particular dashboard, so I have lot of unnecessary worksheets that I have built. So I have to remove all those worksheets. So, and I need to keep only the required worksheets into the, so I have used only few worksheets in the dashboard. Let me just hide all sheets. So only these 4 plus 2, only these 6 sheets I'm using. So only 6 sheets I'm going to present it to the user. So rest of them are the not useful worksheets. I can delete these worksheets. Why? Because it will impact on the performance. So that is about performance and the best practices. So now let's move on to the interview questions and all. So let's start. So how many maximum number of tables that you can join in Tableau? So in Tableau, so let's say we have did the joins and all. So like this, you can keep on keeping the tables like this. You can continue keeping tables. So what is the limit? So there are 32 tables. So you can keep only 32 tables that you can join. So that is a limitation Tableau has. And what are the number of columns? Am I audible? Okay. Okay, so what is the maximum number of columns it will allow? So it will allow 255 columns. And for rows, there is no limit. For rows, there is no limit. It's unlimited. So you can have any number of records and you can have any number of data that you want to. So millions of records or petabytes, TBs, that kind of data also it will handle. But you have to prepare in such a way that that has to follow all these standard rules to improve the performance. So, and try not to use, so let's say some calculations. So let's say you want to separate names. So here we use a function called split function, so that you get first name separately and last name separately. Okay, so these type of things you try to do it at database level. Okay, so if some of the features which are available in database level, so try to do it at database level and use only use Tableau only for reporting. Only for reporting rather than doing some transformations. Rather than doing transformations. So try to do all the implementations in database sites. So whatever possible, let's say first name, last name you want to separate, or if you want to combine, or we have discussed on, let's say I have my name, this name, I want to create a email ID with this. So I'll take last name dot first name @org.com. So like this, if you want to make something with the name, so you can do this same procedure, or you can also do it in the database level itself. So if you do it at that Tableau level, it will take some amount of performance. So instead of doing it at Tableau level, so do it at database level. So once that column is created, you can directly use email ID column from the database. So that will not take any performance here. So now let's see what are the questions we have. So we have different products. So let me ask you a few questions. Rakib, can you tell me about what is the use of Tableau desktop? Yeah, so Tableau desktop is basically is a developer tool. So where we create our visualizations and all and get the insights from the data. And we also have different other tools, Tableau server and Tableau online. Nazrin, can you tell me the difference between Tableau online and Tableau server? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, both are licensed version only, but this is maintained by our organization and this is maintained by Tableau software company. Yeah, perfect. And we also have some other tools, Tableau Reader. So, Sagar, can you tell me about Tableau Reader? Okay, Yashwant, can you tell me about Tableau Reader? Yeah, perfect. So it is like a PDF reader. So if you want to read PDF files, we use PDF reader. So the Tableau, if you want to read Tableau files, so you can use Tableau Reader, and this is a free version. No license is required for this. Yeah, thank you. Okay, Priyanka, can you tell me about Tableau server in detail? Mhm. Okay, yeah, correct. Yeah, thank you. So that is what is the difference between Tableau public and Tableau server. So in Tableau public, when you publish, it will be available for the entire world, where you can't restrict people to see the data. So everybody can see the data and we can't have any restriction for that. But in Tableau server, we can have restriction to folder, to dashboard. We can give restriction so that what people can see in the server. So that a Tableau admin can take care of that, and he will decide who can see what data and all in the Tableau server. And how many ways we can use parameters in Tableau? So we can use parameters with filters, meaning we can pass parameter values to filters. We can pass parameter values to calculate fields, actions, and we can, so we have also implemented swap measures, swap dimensions, and sheet selector and auto updates. So these are the different ways where we can use parameters in Tableau. And we have live connection and extract connection. So, so we have already discussed about live connection and extract connection. So this might be the interview question that you might get. So live connection is basically connecting the data directly, connecting to the data directly. So whenever there is some change that happens in Oracle or SQL or any database that you have connected to, let's say some 10 rows got added into the database. So those 10 rows will get updated in the Tableau dashboard as well. And extract connection is basically is a snapshot of data. Snapshot of data taken at that point of time. Taken at that point of time. So here you don't need to have any refresh. So live connection as it is directly connected to the data. So you don't have to touch this particular dashboards. But in case of extract connection, in two ways we have to refresh the data. So one is manual refresh. The other one is schedule refresh. In schedule, we have hourly, weekly, monthly. So you can specify the time. So you can specify hourly at what time you want to do the refresh, or weekly in what day and what time. Everything that you can mention in the schedule, and you can create those schedules. And at that particular time, the data will get refreshed. So that is the difference between extract and live connection. So that is more important interview question. So context filter and traditional filter. So we have already discussed. So context filter will improve the performance by eliminating the rest of the data. So if you are taking any filter, so 90% of the data you might be filtering, and you are trying to create a table by using context filter. So whatever filters that you apply on top of this, so it will only check in that particular 10% of the data. So it will not, so we will not be checking the entire data. So that way it improves the performance. And yeah, sometimes we also get questions like, what is the difference between groups and sets? So groups we have discussed. So we will be just doing the categorization. So if you go to this India data, so let's take state. So here the grouping is automatically done. I mean, it's already been done in the data level. So let's say zone. Okay, so central zone, eastern zone. So this is already been implemented in the database level itself. If it is not implemented, so if you want to know, so as we know that these states belong to central and these states belongs to eastern. So you have to manually do a grouping. So how we can do that? We can just right click on this and create group. So here we can manually select these countries. Let's say Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh. Yeah. and Uttarakhand. So you can directly right click on this and create a group and name it as central. So like this also we can make a group if it is not directly available in the database. So this way we have to implement the group. Please say okay. So you can see we have made the similar type of grouping. So like this we can create groups, and that is about, so this is manually we have to do. And let's discuss about sets. So sets is a conditional based. So we can create subset of data by providing some conditions. These are dynamic. So we have discussed why these are dynamic and all. So this will automatically keep on changing based on the data. And groups are not dynamic. These are static. So why these are static? Why? Because we are specifically mentioning these particular 4 states as central. So even if the data so changes, so we cannot, only these 4 states will be involved in this central. Even if you add some 10 more states, or if you delete some states from the country, so that won't be impacted. Let's say if you remove Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, in central you will see only Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. But if you add some new states into this, but in central it will not be getting added. Why? Because we have manually selected here. So it is not conditional based. So we have manually selected here. So it will not consider that. But when you create any set, so let me just create a set. So here we are specifying some conditions. So here we can, let's say top 10 based on the population. So let's select population. Yeah. So top 10 based on the population. So in this year, the population is more in Karnataka. And next year, the Karnataka might change. So the population might be more in Maharashtra or in Uttar Pradesh. So that if the data keeps on changing, the top 10 values will also change. So dynamically, the change is happening. So that is why we call sets as dynamic. And that is a subset of data, and it is conditional based. So that is about groups and sets. And let me tell you about some flow of the interview introduction. So whenever you introduce yourself as a Tableau developer, so what are your roles and responsibilities? So as a Tableau developer, our responsibility is to gather the requirements from the clients and help them understand their data. First thing is we gather the requirements. So requirements meaning what is the type of data that they are using. So whether they are having Oracle database or SQL or flat files. Flat files meaning Excel, CSV, PDF, etc. So whether they are using all these files. So if they are using flat files, how to automate these things? Automate meaning, so how to upload this into the Oracle or SQL databases. So that has to be uh, given a thought to implement this automation. So once you know about the data, so there will be 2 types. So they might have implemented this already. They might have implemented some visualizations in Excel or some other reporting tool. Some other reporting tool like ClickSense, Arcadia. Maybe they might have implemented in Power BI. So they want to replicate these things. So they will give you, so they might give you charts. So let's say these charts they might have implemented in some other tool. So they want to make these type of charts in Tableau as well. with the Tableau capabilities. So in let's say if they have prepared in Excel, so in Excel also you can prepare this tabular chart and this pie chart also you can prepare in Excel. Okay, but Excel will not have the capabilities that Tableau has. So in Tableau we have this interactive dashboard. So if you click on something, you can make other worksheet also gets responded to this particular things. So you can make the worksheets talk to each other. But in Excel, you don't have all those options. So you can just replicate what they have implemented in their reporting tool, and you can have Tableau features attached to that. So that is one thing. So they might have created their own reports. And the second requirement, so they might not have anything which is created. You have to implement it from zero, meaning you have to understand the data and what is the solution that they are looking for. And you have to help them understand their data. So these are the two ways that you get the requirements. Okay, once it is finalized, so once this is done, you understand the data and you prepare some POC. So POC is nothing but proof of concept. So proof of concept is something that you will showcase that this is what I'm going to implement. So these are the number of worksheets that I'm going to prepare, and this is the final dashboard which it will look like. So you will give an overview of what you are going to complete, what you are going to show as an output. You can implement it in PowerPoint presentation, or you can implement it in some wireframe that you can prepare. Okay, in that wireframe, you will tell how many days it will take. Let's say you are going to prepare some 7 worksheets. So for each worksheet, how much time you are going to take? Let's say for one worksheet, you're going to take 2 days of time. So 7 into 2, I'm going to take 14 working days to implement or to create the worksheets. So once these worksheets are created, you have to keep it in the dashboard. So to create dashboard, you might take 3 more days. So you can say it requires almost like 20 days of work hours. Okay, so you can say some random time like this, and within that span of time, you should be able to. So while you are preparing this timeline, you should take some buffer time also. Let's say you think that it can be completed in 20 hours, ask for more time. Like you can ask for 25 days or something like that, so that you have some buffer and keep some buffer and give the timelines to the user and implement it before the timeline and have interaction with the client, so that if there is any change that you want to make or whether the client want to share, so you can have that discussion and close this particular task. So this is how you get the requirements. And once you prepare the data, so you have to compare your data with the source file. So yesterday I was showing you something how to retrieve or how to get the query. So I'll just show you. So it has to be an extract. So yesterday we were not able to get the query. It is because it is not an extract. So I have created this an extract by right clicking on this. I have created an extract. You can see the dual cylinder here. So once you have the dual cylinder, go to help button, go to settings and performance and start performance recording. Now go to category, subcategory sales. Okay, so I have created this thing. So, but there is a backend query which is created in the backend. So to see that query, go to settings and performance and click on stop performance recording. So this will generate a dashboard which will show you how this particular performance how this particular dashboard is performing, and how much time is taking for the retrieving the data, and how much time is taking for retrieving this particular worksheet and all. So now let's go to this query and remove this filter. So now you can see the query. So the query actually says select category and select comma subcategory from the table name. So this is what is the table name, and group by 1 comma 2, meaning group by category comma subcategory. So in SQL, how you will write is select category comma subcategory, sum of sales from superstore, group by category comma subcategory. So this is what is the query that you can write in the SQL or Oracle, and you can verify whether it is showing the correct data or not. So I have created this data. So I have implemented this. So I'll write the same query in Oracle and see whether I'm getting the right results or not. I should get these values, the same values. Furniture and bookcases, I should be able to see 115,361. So if you don't have the, or if you don't know the query, so you can do this procedure and you can get it. So it is actually doing, so these are some backend queries it will write. So it is showing you some random data here. So it is actually select category, comma, subcategory, sum of sales, and from table name. So this is what is the table name, which is Superstore. And when you say group by 1 comma 2, 1 comma 2 is basically category comma subcategory. So this is what you need to understand, and you have to verify with the your source data. And we have discussed about all these points, how to improve the performance. So, and there is a hierarchy. So you should understand if the dashboard is slow in Tableau desktop itself, so it will definitely be slow in Tableau server. So you have to check the desktop level only first. So if you think the dashboard is slow in desktop level only, so you have to improve the performance and then publish it to the Tableau server. Otherwise, Tableau server will also become slow. So it will impact other dashboards also. So try to improvise the dashboard and then publish to the Tableau server. And don't work with the data that you don't need. So as I mentioned, so there are some unnecessary columns which are there. So you have to hide those columns and you have to start publishing the dashboard. So we have to understand data at database level, and we have to test the data and try to use extracts and all. And there is one more concept called assume referential integrity. Assume referential integrity. So this is one more option when you are using joins. So when you are using joins, so this will be very helpful. So I'll just show you where it can be done. Say, hello. Is it visible? Is it visible to everyone? Oh. Let me stop and share again. Okay, is it visible now? Okay, so assume referential integrity works when you are using joins. So here there is an option. So let me just edit this data source. So go to data, and here you can see assume referential integrity. So how this works is, so instead of, let's say in the data, if I'm trying to take data from sheet 1 itself, so I have columns from region, country, sales, these are from sheet 1 itself. So when you do assume referential integrity, so it basically it has to write select star from this particular table name itself. But join query is bit lengthy. So instead of, so it has to do all this procedure and it has to do join with sheet 2, and it has already prepared a physical table. So when you use assume referential integrity option, what happens is it will reduce the length of query. So let's say if you are dragging only sheet 1 related information, which requires only, let's say region I'm dragging. So select region from sheet 1. So this is a simple query that it will write. But if you don't use this assume referential integrity, so and you have used this join thing, so what it will write is it will again use this join condition itself. So region, or let's just put select star from sheet 1, join on sheet 2 on basis of what it is joining, sales it is joining. So let me take, let's assume sheet 1 dot region equal to sheet 2 dot region. So on basis of this, I'm just joining. Sheet 2. Okay, so basically it has to write some lengthy query. So instead of writing this lengthy query, what happens is if you're taking only from the left side table itself, so it should not write the entire query. So it has to write one simple query as I'm dragging only from this particular region. So assume referential integrity will reduce the query length. So that way it will improve the performance of the dashboard. So these are the some of the key points that you need to remember, and you have to prepare. So when you are answering it to the interviewer, so you have to tell that you have gathered the you will gather the requirements from the clients and help them understand the data by creating the visualizations in Tableau, and you will be taking care of the transformations and how the data needs to be clean. All those things will be taken care by you, and once the data is clean and you have attached data to the Tableau, you will implement the Tableau development. And once you develop the dashboard, so you have to go to this process called migration, which is dev to UAT to production. So you will do this in the Tableau server. So once you develop, you want to share it with the users. So you have to publish it in Tableau server so that everybody can access in your organization. And everybody meaning, so you only to the relevant people, you will provide the list of people who has to have the access. So you will provide the list to the Tableau admin so that he will be taking care of all the access related things. Yeah. So that is about overall about Tableau desktop. Is it audible now?